And I believe that baseball, yes, professional baseball, will eventually be number one here in the United States again. America's pastime. Everybody said in the 90s completely fell off because of the strike, because of everything that happened in the 90s, which I blame a lot on Bud Selig, but that's just me, because Bud is an idiot and he's a moron. But I also believe when you look at what baseball is and what baseball will be and has been worldwide, I believe that the transition of the different ethnic nations out there that are playing baseball, that are dominant baseball players, Dominican Republic being one of them, a country that has unbelievable baseball players, Puerto Rico, which is part of the United States now, where have some crazy good, talented baseball players.
But that's one region in the world, though. That's not worldwide. Outside of Japan, if you're judging outside of the Western Hemisphere, which other country's huge with baseball?
Well, Australia's getting big now. They're getting big in baseball. Yes, they are. There are more Australian professional baseball players than you think.
It's not a lot.
Yeah, well,
it's not a big national following within its country, too. It's probably the equivalent of what the NFL is to England. It's the same kind of thing. It's not going to surpass their primary sports that it's going to make it that big where you could judge it.
Well, soccer will never be big. Soccer will never be big here in the United States.
Right.
It's just not. It's not going to happen, and it never will be.
But again, the same thing with Australia. They have their rugby and cricket. They have their own soccer. There's a lot of things they're into more right now. Even they're big with basketball, too. There's a lot of things where baseball is, outside of Japan, not really the primary thing in terms of
I'm not even talking
regions.
about worldwide. I'm talking about the United States.
Well, you said worldwide.
Yeah, but the fact that the United States, everybody says, well, football has been dominant really since 2005 and above. It's really taken over. And nobody gives baseball any shot to take over again. And I beg to differ on that.
But why, though?
Because I think baseball
is huge for football.
Well, here's the thing. Baseball right now, as say what you want, is starting to become a sport that people want to play because they want to stay away from football. Because of the CTE injuries, the injuries that we've been talking about year in and year out. And some of these players, these parents, are going to push them and stir them away from professional football.
Right,
and
but
away
what does that
from
have to do
football.
with watching football and consuming football?
But that's why I'm saying baseball will take over eventually, because some of these parents are going to push them to go and play professional baseball because you have a better longevity and a better chance to be a successful athlete than going and playing professional football.
That's not what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying that that's not true, because the NFL average lifespan, I think, is 3.5 years or something like that, whereas baseball is probably closer to 7 or 8. You're judging two things that I don't think mesh. Playing baseball as a young kid versus playing football as a young kid, I think don't have to really do with whether you like a sport or not. You say it all the time. You played hockey, but your favorite sport to watch is the NBA. Mm-hmm. So why can't a baseball player enjoy watching football more than enjoying watching baseball? I don't think it really correlates.
I think it correlates a lot. I think most professional baseball players are big, huge baseball fans. They watch baseball religiously. They might be football fans, just like there are football players that are more big into basketball than they are into football. Mm-hmm. So you're absolutely right. But my thought in professional sports and where the United States has transitioned from baseball to really football, I think can absolutely transition again back into baseball because of the different styles of game. And now you look at the best players in professional sports. I believe Mike Trout is the best athlete in professional sports in every one of those sports.
But again, it's going to be harder for them to consume Mike Trout just as
a sales tactic.
Right.
Well, they're not going to be able to sell him. Absolutely right. But that's because he's not LeBron James. He's not going to go on producer or dance around on TV the way he does on these stupid television shows. No, he doesn't do that.
Right, and that's makes it harder just with region, just with the way the sport is. They're trying to grow into having it be more star-oriented. The problem is it's just a game where that isn't the case. You still need team baseball, good managing, obviously stats, anything like that, to win in baseball, where, again, you could win with stars in the NBA. So the NBA, it's about the stars, and you see them all year. You see them featured in these primetime games, stuff like that. And just with the way highlights are too and consumption of social media, football and basketball seem to be very marketable in terms of those highlights too, those flashy players. And then also for football, especially fantasy sports consume into that too. Goes into popularity.
No,
though.
it doesn't.
Yes,
It goes into the popularity world of the way the transition of what their parents are going to push their kids to do more as they get older.
But that doesn't factor into the entire judgment of popularity.
Yeah,
though.
but judgment.
It's all around consumption.
Well,
of
the
sport.
consumption of the sport, of the way the sport is and the way it is developed, and how there's 162, 150 games if they want to switch it to. There's still more games, more years. More year to watch it and more connection with the players than you do in professional football because there's only 16, now 17 weeks of professional football.
Right, which makes every game matter more.
That has nothing to do with the
you're going to watch something that matters more.
The growth of a sport to the other sport.
You're going to watch something that matters more, though, too.
I'm sorry.
So every football game, because it's that short of a season, gets that kind of following, in addition to, again, fantasy, in addition to other things that make it more consumable. Same thing with basketball. There's a lot of good featured games that they want to see the stars play against the stars because it's direct. They're guarding each other a lot of the time. LeBron James versus Kawhi Leonard. They're going to be guarding each other. That's going to be direct. They want to see all that. And again, the consumption makes a difference. You say it all the time. NBA is the number one social media sport in the world.
It is.
Consumption matters. And that'll keep it popular. And
it's
going back to your other thing, basketball.
Still not number 2. It's still just number 2. It's not.
It is. No, I know it's number. I know it's number 2.
Right now, yes.
It's number 2. I understand that, and I think it's going to stay that just because of the way football is.
I beg to differ.
Football is consumed drastically because of 1, the shorter season, 2, its ability to brand stars, and 3, also its ability to stay relevant.
Brand stars. That's why their stars don't make any money when it comes to shoe deals and drink whatever soda deals or whatever.
No, I get that. I'm not saying
they don't make anywhere close to basketball and baseball players.
Well, yeah, because there's more players.
Well, it shows you how much respect they do have for the NFL players, that they're in one time and they're out the next.
Because there's more players. There's more players on a football team, so you can't pay them $40 million a year like you do in basketball.
Again, that's not my argument here. When I'm looking at baseball and how the sport can really be completely transitioned, especially the amount of time that it dominates the sports wave, and it really does. From the summertime all the way till the wintertime, it's baseball. It's all baseball until basketball starts at the end of October, or the middle of October with hockey, and it's still on top because it's the playoff time. So I think it dominates a lot of professional sports in the amount of time that it's on. So, Snug, what's going on, man?
Oh, my goodness. I've got to say that this whole coronavirus thing has been great for me calling into the show. I love it. I have plenty more time. And, Speedy, I do like the yellow shirt today.
Thanks.
So I wanted to call in and say I have to agree with Speedy. And I think that baseball is kind of a dying dinosaur. And I think you're downplaying soccer in the United States. There was a Forbes article that came out last year, and I'd be happy to forward it to you if you'd like.
You could do that.
What's that?
You could do that. It's still not going to change. It's still not going to change my thoughts of what soccer is right now here in the United States.
And is it American soccer, or is it soccer fans rooting for international teams?
It's American interest in soccer. So basically, the popularity of the league increased like 27% between 2013 and 2018. And they were talking about the most valuable team in the league is worth over $330 million now.
Yeah, I think it's either Barcelona or Real Madrid. I'm not sure.
No, I'm talking about MLS.
Oh, you're talking about MLS. Okay.
American soccer.
They meant in the whole world. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Real Madrid and those guys are worth billions. They're like the Cowboys. Right. And so I think what you're seeing is, you're right, there's going to be a shift away from football because people, it's perceived as dangerous. It is for some folks, maybe not as much for others. But I think you're going to see that drive towards soccer. They were talking about, in the article, the Atlanta franchise has had an average attendance of 51,000 for like the last 5 or 6 years. Something crazy like that. That's
I think they're their second most popular team after the Falcons in terms of attendance.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're beating the Braves, and the Braves are pretty well established, and they've been a decent team the last few years, and they're getting better. But
the Braves are going to be a good team this year.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be really
good. The Braves are a playoff team this year all day long.
They're a championship team this year. They're a championship team this year. The Braves are going to be really good this year. Really good.
I mean, a Braves Red Sox World Series would be super entertaining.
Yeah, Red Sox won't go there. That's not happening. That's
Well,
not
you know,
happening.
we can say
That's a dream. Unless they cheat again, they could do that. That could
hey,
happen.
if you're not cheating, you're not trying. If
Oh,
only cheating,
that's the Boston way. If you're not cheating,
Well,
you're not trying.
All right, let's go investigate the
the New
Celtics
York
now.
way is
We'll see
to
what they're
not
doing.
adapt.
That's the Boston way. That's the Boston way. Let's cheat.
And the New York way is to sit back and just go, oh, they're cheating, but we're not going to change. Everyone else is doing it.
Listen, we don't have to cheat.
somehow-
We'll sit back and
somehow better than
eventually we'll
everyone
win. That's what usually happens.
The Giants beat a team that got caught for Spygate.
Well,
Got caught. It really got caught
David
twice.
Tyree did something magical.
Yeah.
Good for him. So at least he'll always be able to get a free dinner in New York. He's going to need it at some point because I don't remember that career lasting too much.
No, he only
longer
played
than
one
that.
more year after that. He was actually a Pro Bowl special teams player, but he only played 1 year after that.
Well, that 1 year after that was kind of a courtesy, but hey, it was money well spent if you're the Giants. I'm sure the Cowboys will sign him in the offseason. Don't worry about it. They love to pick up high-priced talent whenever they can. So.
You're an idiot. You and
I
Jeff.
am an idiot.
You and
That's
Jeff.
what makes
man.
it great.
Yeah, you guys are nuts, both of you.
Who's the bigger idiot, though? That's the real debate.
Well, that's a good question, and we can get into topics later on in the show. But I do want to say that I believe baseball will take over the United States sports waves eventually, and I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I see 10 years, 12 years down the road. I think baseball will take over again. I think the transition of the game and the way the game is going to be people and parents are going to start pushing their kids to play baseball more than football because of all the injuries and what it could do to your life as you move forward in your career or whatever you want to do after football. I think you're going to see baseball really take over again because I think baseball is a finesse sport where you're going to make a lot more money than any other sport because you're practically you're really your own agent. You're your own company. You're your own corporation on the baseball field.
But that's based on the structure of them having no salary cap, and that also doesn't correlate with the popularity of the sport. It's not judging on young athletes.
Parents are going to tell them.
Leaguers and
parents are going to tell them
baseball players.
Parents are going to tell them to go and play baseball because you have a better chance of making more money and have a better opportunity to have a better career playing professional
right, but that doesn't correlate with what you watch, though, or consume.
But how do you know that? Well, if you're drawing more fans to the sport, they're going to watch it, okay? So because the sport is popular. And that's what parents... Listen, when you hear money, the first thing an American hears is, what could I do in my career that's going to make me a lot of money? That's what American does. You know that, Snug, too, just like anybody else. That's the first thing that pops into your...
making money is great.
Making money is the number one thing to excite everybody. Some people have passion, like we do, but there are people that want to make money. That's what they want. Dollars. No, they don't care about anything else. And that's why I'm telling you, baseball, it's going to be like that. This is a business. And parents are going to tell them, like, listen, you have a better opportunity to become a big-time superstar in baseball, make more money than you can ever imagine, and then own the organization 10 years from now.
Well, think about it like this, though. Here's an interesting thought. So, baseball probably will take it over if all the other major sports go out of business. That's true. But the number of positions available on a major league squad is, we'll say there's roughly 1,000 guys every year. There's injuries and some of that, right, floating around. So there's about 1,000 people in Major League Baseball at the highest level every year, more or less. Think about it in terms of soccer, there are unbelievable amounts of opportunity to get paid to be a professional soccer player. I believe Germany has 3 or 4 leagues, and I think Italy has the same number. And I believe that there's international leagues now. There's South American leagues. So if you want to be a professional soccer player, baseball still has a danger factor I think you're underestimating because someone's throwing a really hard thing at you really fast. And there are people who get injured and or die from that. Not very many, but it does happen. So if you're going on the safety concern, I would argue that soccer, for the most part, you're probably suffering more leg injuries than anything else out there, which you're going to sustain running anywhere, or even on the ice if you're skating. So I would say that if you're going to go on the money theory, soccer would actually probably be a better bet for your child because we know most people are not going to play at the highest levels. They're not going to play the Division I in Italy or La Liga or anything like that, right? But there's quite a bit of money to be made. It's sort of like basketball. There's a lot of leagues around the world you can play in and make decent money.